And our cultures deny this kind of genuine experience. It doesn't. It's not in a culture's best interest to have people to be free to be genuinely themselves. Other times, in companies, I've had investors go to their CEOs and say, "Look, I've got $20 million in this organization, and you're going to work with this guy." And those execs are a lot of fun until they realize that something of value is happening. Just a second, there's something else here that wants to be said that's really related to your question. I guess I want to speak to what I've come to believe wants to happen for people on the planet. People, I think, whatever it is that we are, come here and become people, and we're here for some purpose of being utterly and irrevocably changed. And I don't mean that in a physical evolutionary sense, because that happens by itself. Because who we are, whether people call it an essential self or spirit, those things don't evolve. They may expand or change. Whatever it is that we are is both personal and transpersonal, and the personal parts of us have issues that are always of a mind to mend to my heart. And so we come here to be changed, and the metaphor is DNA only changes under pressure. So as people, we're exposed to varying degrees of pressure for the purpose of changing us. And when an issue presents in my life, for example, a death of, in this case, my late wife, that occurred with a bent to fix something in the system of self that for eons has been unwell. And in that process of going through a major loss, the structures of the self that I unwittingly created and was bequeathed were utterly annihilated. And then something else is here now. And this happens to be my incarnation, my life. Somebody else, it may be that they are provided opportunity after opportunity, but it didn't fit their model of the world to lighten the load or mend themselves, and they leave this life without things resolved. Other people, and that's their path. And so what I'm indirectly pointing at is each of us individually need to have a personal cosmology or an overarching story of all things that is supportive of the life we live. I want to speak to this thing about personal cosmology or is it overarching or overarching? Whatever the right word is, story of all things, that essentially we're bequeathed and acculturated into a story of all things. Our personal cosmology typically is one that's handed to us, or in addition to being handed to us, I think it's an imprint that we receive at conception, and it comes from one of either our mother's line or ancestors. And this is all unconscious, and part of the task of altering our personal cosmology, the one bequeathed to us, I think for some people they become aware of it as children or adolescents. And then I think there's a major opportunity somewhere around 28 or 29, and I don't speak astrology, but those people say there's something about a return. But there's about a 3-year period there where I've watched people be presented with circumstance, and they either choose a path of their own creation or they follow the one that they were given by their family. And at that period, it's all about what's our personal cosmology, because our story of all things is what we predicate our lives on, whether we know it or not. And if life's a bitch and then you die, you predicate your experience on that. When Paul Richards passed on a story of all things, Something is, it's terrible and wonderful, and I'm for it. That is a beautiful story of all things. Because there's profound beauty that has no upper limit, and there's profound difficulty that has no upper limit. And joy and ease and pain, and no limits on any end. So something is, it's terrible and wonderful, and I'm for it. That is a beautiful personal cosmology. Now, I have been incorporating that into myself and have revised my own, and yet there are always vestiges that, because the culture's in the concrete and in the atmosphere. So there's always vestiges of this other stuff until such time the ego falls away and falls away and falls away. But what we guide our life by, philosophically or spiritually, gives us our experience, and the meaning we derive from the experience thus becomes our experience, our psychological experience.